Welcome, folks. How are you doing today? We're going to get you up to speed on how to get good with the legend that is Pathfinder.
Pathfinder is definitely my favorite sassy robot boy. He's got this really cool feature where he can tell you where the next circle is going to be. He's quick, he's fast, he's nimble, he's agile, and he's great at helping out teammates with all of his abilities if you use them the right way.
He's also the most Titanfall character. For people who were concerned about mobility in Apex originally, Pathfinder is your robot to do the most Titanfall-style movement of any other legend in this game.
And we'll do that movement using the Grappling Hook.
Which brings us to our first tactical.
Yeah!
So the Grappling Hook, the thing with the Grappling Hook is you're doing it wrong. At least when you start off, you're going to do it wrong. It's a tactical that needs a lot of practice because what initially happens is you go from point A to point B and you don't realize that you can actually whip or launch yourself with it.
Yeah, it's not a straight line like a Widowmaker in Overwatch or something like that. You can mess with it, there are physics to it, and you can move around.
So how you do this is you fire the Grappling Hook, you wait for it to attach to the object. You'll hear a grabbing sound. The second you hear that sound, you need to time that with the jump button. And as it picks you up, if you do it right, you'll actually go up into the air as opposed to just straight.
Yeah, it gives you like a little boost. And you can actually then, when you're in the air, kind of adjust which way you're going using forward and strafe. And it will cause you to loop out which way you're actually pushing. And you can continue to stay attached if you track with your look on your mouse or your right stick. And that will actually let you either orbit stuff if you want to, or just completely let go if you look away.
So that slingshot maneuver becomes your absolute go-to maneuver in gunfights. It basically lets you get places that people don't expect you, usually behind them. So you can go up and over rocks, or you can whip around buildings, or you can whip up and over the top of cover, like some of even the larger pieces of cover.
Yeah.
Or simply just fire yourself off down a steep hill and just get away real quick.
Yeah, it's all leads into speed or flanking, just being in places where people don't expect you to be, which is definitely his strongest point.
The downside to the Grappling Hook is then overcommitment.
Yes.
Apex is a game with a long time to kill, and it's really hard to win 1v2s, much less 1v3s. So whipping yourself into a position where you're behind a team is great if they don't know you're there. If they do know you're there, you're probably going to lose. So be very careful about what situations you get yourself into and how much further ahead of your team you want to get at any given time.
Opening fire on the enemy. Reloading. Enemy down.
I feel like that almost at any time when I'm playing, I'll actually stick behind so that everyone actually moves up ahead of me, and then that's when I'll come in and swoop either around to the side or up and over them to kind of just get to a place where people aren't looking.
That's a good point. Wait until the other team's distracted before making your move.
Because they're going to be too concentrated on, oh, there's someone here, we can't do anything, I've got to mark them and start shooting them, to even notice that you're already up in the air and you're coming down with your Peacemaker shotgun all loaded up and ready to go.
The other thing you can do is get away from things. So ultimates from Gibraltar and Bangalore usually blanket an area with hot death. And the Grappling Hook is just a good way to get out when you need to.
Yeah, it's great for escaping, great for getting in. It's versatile.
Now, for the Prestige, if you want to, you can grab somebody with the Grappling Hook and drop kick them. I don't necessarily recommend it, but it does look damn cool if you pull it off.
It's entirely worth it if you can land it. It looks really cool and really badass, and I'm still not good at it myself, but one day I'll get there.
Hey, at least you tried.
Exactly.
First blood.
Enemy taken down.
Moving along, Pathfinder's passive is Insider Knowledge. So this is where you hack survey beacons around the map. They show up on your minimap if you pull it up as like little T's, and they're usually somewhere up high that only somebody with a Grappling Hook can get to.
Exactly.
You walk up to them, you press a button, and after a bit of an animation where you're vulnerable, but I've never really had a problem with it, you'll see where the next circle is going to be. That sometimes is useful, sometimes it's right next to you. But that information can give your team better decision-making skills. Yeah,
always knowing where you're going to be heading next is a huge benefit, especially in a game like a Battle Royale where the area keeps getting smaller and smaller. The only supposed downside is the fact that it makes a giant sound that people like 3 towns over can hear, but it doesn't really do anything because no one tracks down who just hit the button.
People either don't know what it is or it's just not noticeable enough. I've never had somebody come after me.
I've never had any issues with it either, but just as a heads up, it makes a very loud noise. And if you hear it, you'll know what happened.
So now you know where the next circle is going to be. It's time to pull out your ultimate, which is the Zipline Gun.
Setting up a zipline.
The Zipline Gun is another tool to get you and your team now to places that other teams can't be, particularly taking the high ground, crossing chasms, getting behind people, or just, again, getting out of a bad situation.
Yeah, I like using it for especially getting up on top of things, on top of buildings, making escape routes if we need to get out of someplace quick. Or I'll even use it like to help people get out of, say if we're in the closing circle and people need to catch up or we need to cover a lot of ground really quickly, just putting one down on the flat ground to move quicker. And you can do that because the cooldown is so very quick on it.
Yeah, this is not an ultimate that is meant to be held on to. You're supposed to use this constantly. It recharges fairly quickly, and you're just going to be a much more effective team if you're constantly moving. Another thing that it lets you do is hang way further back as the circle closes. So, like, now that you know where the next circle is going to be and how far that distance is, and you have several mobility options, one of which can take your team with you, hang back. Let other teams get their head of you, start killing each other, and then you can zipline in way later and mop up.
Exactly.
You know, side note, sometimes good zipline placement in the last circle can mean that your team wins even though you're dead. So, you know, be kind. Zipline.
Exactly. Always put them down whenever you can.
Chaps, we took out the kill leader. Trace.
All right, final thoughts on Pathfinder, Ben.
So the biggest thing is always be where people don't expect you to be. Up and around things, up and over things, on top of things, places that you would never look. And he's so strong at it. It's my favorite part about him, besides the fact that he's just a real quick little robot boy who's always happy.
Yeah, just practice on the grappling hook until you get good at it, and I promise you will see some massive gains with this character. We're just getting started with what Apex can do, so head on over to GameSpot to share your favorite legend and maybe some things that we don't know. If it's cool enough, hey, it might end up in the next video. All right, thanks for dropping in, everyone.
Tweet me your cool zipline kicks. I want to see all your zipline kicks. Show me all of your cool Pathfinder plays.